F2.TV presents Tell Us Your Business, where you're invited on the air to tell us what makes your business stand out in the community. It's important we hear from you to tell us all we need to know about what you do best. Tell Us Your Business uses the latest radio and television production systems, and all shows can be seen on F2.TV. If you have a question for our guest, call 888-565-1470. Now, let's get ready as our guest hits the airwaves and informs us about what we need to know on Tell Us Your Business.
Welcome, South Florida. It's your host, Rashad Butler, and we have an amazing show set up for you today. You're definitely going to want to call in. Make sure that if you reach out to us at 888-565-1470. We have a couple of amazing guests here that, trust me, you guys are going to want to call in. I want to introduce y'all guys to Miss Lima LeMay. Lima, maybe you want to go ahead and introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, sure. Hi, good evening, everyone. How is it out there in sunny Florida? I just want to say I'm glad to be here this evening to bring you the information that I'm going to impart to you, and I hope it will help you tremendously.
Now, just in case you people don't understand what it is Lima does, she does a lot of things. But the subject we're going to be touching on today is credit repair, which there is millions of Americans right now that are suffering from all sorts of debt problems, from the credit card to the mortgage. And Lima's going to give you a little bit of what she does and how she does it. So maybe you can start off by telling them your company and what it is exactly you do.
Oh, sure. Again, my name is Lima LeMay, and I have a real estate company, Lima's Realty. I also am a consultant with Financial Education Services, and our whole goal is to bring financial literacy in every household. We think that's lacking in household, and it's costing consumers billions of dollars every year. So we want to lighten that load, keep that money in the household, so everyone can, start using their income in a wiser way. Now, I also wanted to introduce to you Miss Nicola, who is with me. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. It's an awesome day. My name's Nicole Demetrius. I'm an agent with Lima's team with Financial Education Services. In addition, I also represent Colonial Life, an accident company.
Awesome. So both of you young entrepreneurs are out here making a lot of great things happen here in South Florida. But I really want to touch on this subject. It was very important to get you guys in here to the studio. And the reason why it was important to me is because credit is such a major thing. And a lot of people really do suffocate themselves by getting into debt. And I love the fact that, you brought up the word literacy. Okay, because it's not the fact that people are necessarily making all these mistakes. They just don't know how to, work the system, so to speak. Now, how long have you been doing credit repair for?
Well, I've been doing it for many years. Prior to this, I used to do credit restoration and finance with the United States Air Force. Did it overseas with them. Came back in the 90s when Andrew hit Miami. So, of course, I had to look for other avenues of employment. So I got into real estate because, it was very lucrative. But I find a lot of my clients was coming to buy homes and they had no credit. They had no idea what they were doing. So I actually implemented it in my office where I could help my clients. But that was a minor part of what was going on throughout the United States. We were not reaching as many as we possibly could. So I stick with real estate for many years. But you know what happened when the market fell, right? 2008, 2009, the market fell. I myself was an investor, so I lost money in the market. And my credit suffered a hit. So I went from having 8s and 7s down in the 5s. But of course, I couldn't stay that way because I'm allergic to being broke. It's just the truth. So I decided I wanted to find a company. This time I wasn't going to do it on my own because I really wanted to reach as many people as possible. So I decided I wanted to find a company that was reputable, that would do what they would say they would do for the consumer, and that would also educate the consumer. Because I do believe an educated consumer is the best consumer. And if we were taught these principles in school before we left high school or colleges, we would not be in some of the predicament we are today. So it was important when I came across this company. I was only looking to do my credit, actually. But when I saw the mass amount of people that showed up at my office asking me about credit, I decided to take this on. So now I'm running a campaign from credit to keys. Keys to your home, keys to your cars, keys to your business, keys to your financial future. So that's my campaign. And I'm going to take it all across the nation because I do know that millions of Americans are suffering unnecessary. There's just a few factors that can get them back in the game, get them to start winning, and start having all their money going out the door. Because I do believe that we deserve more than what we're getting right now.
I absolutely love that. Now you guys are, I think you guys are starting to get the point. Like I said, make sure if you guys do have questions for Lima that you dial in 888-565-1470. Ask her some questions. Don't be shy out there, South Florida. This woman, I'm telling you, she is a guru. Nicole is definitely here. She's very brilliant. She also deals with, voluntary benefits. So if you are a person that needs help, so you got one person here that specializes in teaching you how to fix your credit, another person that makes sure that you keep getting paid if something were to happen to you. It all does meld together to deal with your finances in your home. Now, maybe you can tell us maybe like the 2 or 3 biggest mistakes you see people make on a day-to-day basis when you're dealing with people's credit. Like, what are the 3 biggest things that people do to put themselves in a bind?
Well, one of the things is they're not realizing that their credit score already have errors in them. That's not necessarily caused by them. And they want to make big decisions with bad scores. That's going to cost them thousands and thousands, up to millions of dollars over the years. So one of the key things, credit now is like your vital sign. It's being monitored at all times, and it can affect everything you do. It's like breathing air. We need that, right? We need good credit, actually. So credit, no, on a serious note, credit can affect your health. It can affect your marriage. It can affect where you live, where your kids go to school. It can affect how you retire or if you retire. Because one of the biggest things right now is seeing people retire and going back to work. Why? We've been living in an era where we're working 40 hours a week. I'm expected to work at least 40 years. Then we're going to retire in 40% of our income.
I just want to interject really quick on that, and I'm sorry to break up your point.
That's okay.
But I really want you guys, I want this to resonate with you guys out there. And the reason why it's so important to me is because I used to, for many, many years, I was enrolling people into Medicare. So I dealt with the 65 plus population. And with that 65 plus population, you would be amazed at how many people literally live off their Social Security, that they have to end up taking like a Medicare Advantage policy, which is free. And this, they can't even give themselves the quality care, because I've literally talked to people that are making $800 a month, $400 a month, $1,200 a month. Matter of fact, if you make less than $1,800 a month, you qualify for assistance. That's for another story. But the point that is being made here is, think about how many people have worked all those years. Okay, now they're over 65. Now they can't even give themselves the quality care because they're living on less than $1,800 a month.
Precisely. And that bring us to one of the other thing that you talk about, okay? The mistake people make. One of the mistakes they make is thinking that tomorrow is going to take care of itself. And that's not true. This is a game, and we have to learn to play this game to win. So, sitting around and thinking, for instance, if you have a loan and that loan says 30 years mortgage or 15 years, why do we sit around and think we have to take 15 years to pay those loans off? We can do so much to pay those loans off in half the time. And that same mortgage payment that you were making, you can now put those away. With just a few interest rate on that, that can build up to when you can possibly retire in 10 years, isn't it, Nicole?
Yes.
Or 15 years. But you will have accumulated so much money by then that you can basically live off the residual. But most people are thinking, where's the money going to come from? Well, one of the major places the money is going to come from is by having your credit score at the highest possible point you can get it. Because if you can get over a 740 and above credit score, you can leverage your credit and start masking a great amount of money for you and your family and start building wealth. Remember what I said to you, Nicole? Wealth is only built two ways. You can inherit it or you can build it. Well, it's not as hard to build. It's just learning the game, because we are in a game. So we have to learn how to play the game. Now, a lot of people don't have the education necessarily to take it to that level. So we are providing a lot of education to the consumer so they can be wiser at selecting what they do with their money. And that's what we're here for.
So let me ask you, let's say, for instance, hypothetically, I'm a potential client. I'm buried in debt. You know, my credit score is 530. And I really don't know where to begin. So I reach out to you, I call you. If I wanted to get my credit right, what is the typical, and I don't want to lock you into a time frame, but what is the typical time frame a person's looking to be able to start seeing an improvement on their credit?
Well, because the Fair Credit Reporting Act have stated that these credit bureaus, agencies, whatever they call themselves, have to respond by law within 45 days to the letters that we sent out. In 45 days or less, you can start seeing some result on your credit. Now, it all depends. Everybody's credit is different, so I cannot give a direct answer. But most of our clients, within 6 months or less, their credit is at a score where they can start getting back their purchasing power. So now the power is back in their hand, and they can start choosing how they spend their money and the interest rate that they're getting when they are, trying to get loans from other places.
So I myself have gone through this, so I'm a victim of it as well. I bought my house.
like myself.
I bought my home back in 2008. I started looking at about 2005, late 2005, and credit was garbage. Okay. And it took 2 years of sacrifice. And then obviously you got to have X amount of money in the bank at the time with the, to get the home loan. They want to see that you have, you not only maintaining credit, but you're able to have a savings and things like that. So when people are working toward these goals, that's why I asked her about the time frame realistically to start seeing some improvement. I want to clarify that I'm not saying that you'll go from 530 to 740 in those 6 month frame, but people typically want to have an idea of when they're going to start seeing some kind of return. I wanted to know, walking through the door, what type of, I want to word this correctly. So first things first, it sounds to me like you start with the 45 day, sending out the letter, start to combat it.
Right.
Okay. The other thing is that a lot of time people can get themselves into a credit deficit by just simply mismanaging money. Home Depot cards, you go out there and you spend $1,000 on a gazebo in your backyard. You got to have the gazebo because your neighbor has a gazebo.
Right.
When do you start differentiating luxuries from necessity with your credit? And if that makes any sense, because a lot of people tend to take credit and buy luxuries. They don't necessarily just handle what they need to handle or monitor their credit the right way. So if I get a credit card and I have a $10,000 limit on it, okay, a lot of people will say, oh, well, I can go ahead and put $5,000 down on this car. I've got $10,000. I got an AMX now. I can do this because.
And I'm glad you brought up that point, because that's a big mistake they would be making. Because 30% of your credit score is designed around that, how you use your credit, especially your revolving credit, your store cards, and your credit cards. You should not have more than 1/3 owing on your car when they're ready to send that into the credit agency. And the next thing too is you have some people, they go and they max out the card and they may spend, the bare minimum payment they make in the minimum payment. And then they wonder how they went from a 10,000 credit line and now they're owing 13 and 14,000. That's because sometime when they make that bare minimum, they already was late. So there's a late charge. And then sometimes they don't understand. You have to know. Remember I tell you you're in a game? Some credit cards actually say they should be paid on the 28th, by the 28th, but they don't read the fine print. Sometimes it says by 8:01 a.m. Now you go to work and you come home and pay that 5 o'clock in the evening. You're late. Wow. So that late can now put you over the limit. So now not only do you have a late fee, but you have an over the limit fee. So you're always running behind on those cards. So a 10,000 credit card can now become 13, 14, 15,000. It can start adding up, all those late fees, all those excessive time that you didn't pay on time. So you have to be mindful and read at least those fine prints that says exactly what time those things should be paid. You need to know what's in your wallet.
It's funny. I know you guys don't know my background. I'm sort of like Freddie, where I've done a million different things. And I spent 2.5 years doing debt collection. And I'm not going to put the name of one of the companies, credit card companies I work for. Okay. But in their thing, if you were late, you went from, I think it was a 4% interest rate
and they
to
can
a 24.
They can jack up the interest rate. Exactly. And that's how you can build those excessive fees. But what is not told to us is that the Fair Credit Reporting Act, it was Congress actually brought that in effect since 1971. But yet we're not leveraging that to help us to fix our credit. Did you know they weren't supposed to put anything on your credit at all until they verify with you first? Have anybody called you lately to verify a trade line before they put it on your credit? Absolutely not. Again, like we said, we're in a game, but we don't know how to play it. So that alone can have them take it off. Also, the Fair Credit Reporting Act states that if the item is not 100%, not 99, but 100% accurate, they have to take it off your credit. But most people name or spell incorrectly. Their loans are rounded up. So those are not their loans. Those are not them. So that's one way of getting something off your credit, but it's not properly being, worked. Some people are out there, mom and pop store, they're charging people hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, and they're taking things off someone's credit. Guess what's going to happen? They're not leveraging the law and doing it legally under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, so those same items can come back on your credit. I'm a real estate broker, and I'll tell you, on the way to closing, I had a deal. On the way to closing, the bank decided to run the credit score again. Well, guess what? The person's credit score dropped. So we asked, what happened? Your credit score, when we run it 30-something days ago, it was excellent. What's going on? And there was negative items that came back on that person's credit within that 30-something days. Yes.
Wow.
And they could not close on that home.
Wow.
Yes. So you have to be very careful of who is restoring your credit, who, if they're doing it properly under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, or if it's just a mom and pop set up store and is doing, something that they really don't know how to do. So you have to be careful who is taking care of your credit.
That's actually very scary. That was very scary.
Oh, don't mean to scary.
No, that's very scary to think about it, because I've actually gone through that. I've gone through that. Where, like I said, when I was going to buy my home, you got to go through all 3 reports. My wife had little stuff like Fingerhut. There was like a multiple different reports, Fingerhuts, but there's a lot of duplicates, and it pulls down your credit score. $32 here.
Oh, yes.
$40 here. $32 again here. $32. So, I mean, I can completely understand where you're coming from. But let me ask you this. So let's say, for instance, I start the program.
Okay.
You guys help me repair my credit.
We would like to use the word restore.
Restore my
Yes,
credit.
Yes.
Do you guys also help monitor, like help me monitor after the restoration process? Do you continue the relationship, or do y'all, because I just want to differentiate it, or do y'all guys just simply help me get to that point, and then from that point I monitor myself, or I mean, how does that work?
Yes. Well, while we're restoring your credit, we are going to be monitoring your credit. So you're going to be getting 12 benefits under a program. And those benefits are credit restoration.
Okay.
We're also going to give you access to a credit attorney. And because one of the great things facing families now is when someone has passed on, the loved ones don't know what they have, how they have. So that end up in the U.S. Treasury Fund, which is a $58 billion fund, sitting there with people, stocks, properties, and different things that cannot reach to the heirs. So we have a will trust and a financial and a health power of attorney as part of our program. We also have something called Debt Zero, because remember we tell you that you need to pay down those liability and start building asset in order to start seeing wealth. So wealth is built, okay? So we're going to take you through the process. So that's Debt Zero, because we're a debt-free company, and we intend for all our consumers to become debt-free. Okay? That sounds good?
That sounds very good.
Okay. Then we also have something called Smart Credit. We're going to monitor your credit. You can see your credit 24/7 without it negatively affecting you. And we're also going to give you that portal so your information is not being sold. Okay? So we're protecting your information.
Very important.
Someone was to run your credit, it will alert you. And if it's not you, we'll shut it down. If that was you, we'll let it go through. So Smart Credit is very critical while we're restoring your credit. Credit attorney. How about having access to an attorney? If somebody's harassing you about debt, you can now have that attorney address that for you. Or how about if someone won't take something off your credit? How good would it be to have an attorney that's an expert, that's been around since 2004 doing this, that will now address that issue for you too? And those stubborn things sometimes that is there and won't come off your credit. And by the way, we don't believe in closing those cards. A lot of people think about restoring their credit, they run and close the cards. That can affect you negatively, okay? So you don't want to do that. The education you're going to get here is going to save you thousands and thousands and even millions of dollars.
Wow.
Throughout your family, okay? So you have access to a credit attorney. You also have access to, like you said,
there's more.
a protection. Yes, we are going to protect your identity with the largest, identity protection company right now, which is LifeLock. So we're going to make sure that, anybody compromise your identity while you're with us. Remember, LifeLock will give you back up to $1 million. That's key. We also have a financial lockbox. Remember, I tell you there's $58 billion out there? Well, that's because some of those companies, those insurance companies, those properties, they don't know where to send the inheritance to. Well, now the financial lockbox will alert whoever you have that's going to, be in charge of your estate. So now your children can have enough to take care of them.
Wow.
Just in case you're gone. It don't have to be where every family member have to suffer, because we all know every one of us have to go. So why not leave the people behind in really good standing? So that's also a part of your program. Then you have Positive Credit Builder. So we're not only going to take negative things off your credit, we're also going to show you how to put positive trade line on your credit to increase your credit score. Did you know that your rent can go on your credit? And sometimes that's the largest payment that the client has monthly, and yet they're not getting credit for it. So now we have it to where, you can report your rent, but look at this. You can go back up to 24 months prior, put it on your credit. So in a 30-day span, your credit can be increased tremendously so you can go on to purchase the things that you need.
See, guys, now I told you we had a guru on here. You thought I was joking. I was not joking. This stuff is amazing. And the best part that I really like is that a lot of these companies now, like LifeLock, the competitors, they simply are monitoring your credit. They're simply just sending you an alert saying, hey, there's something going on, you check it out. But we're talking about from soup to nuts. We're talking about from beginning to end. We're talking about fixing it, restoring it, building it, protecting it. We're talking about attorneys maintaining it.
Yes.
Attorneys that will watch your back if somebody else is trying to meddle with your credit. I mean, this is serious business, and I don't care how many people try to fake it till they make it. A lot of people are struggling with credit. It's just fact. As Americans, we typically like to spend more than we make. If you make 50, you're spending 60. That's just the way we're built. So here's a way for us to start getting out of the Stone Age. Stop living with our eyes closed and walk around being able to, be knowledgeable, to have professionals have your back and make sure that they're going to put you in a position to win. Now, we got 2 minutes here. So before we go, I want to make sure that the people know how to get in touch with both of you guys. Please, please, please give them your information.
Okay. It's always great to be here. The number here is...
No. Not this number. Your number.
Okay, you want my number specifically? Okay. My number is 954-325-3326. That's 954-325-3326, and Nicole's number is
954-225-9510. Feel free to call or text. We'll always respond to you very quickly.
Yes, and we want to say this campaign is nationwide. So if you have loved ones in other states that are suffering from credit issues, please. And this is not something that you should be ashamed about, because we were just not taught the proper way of handling our credit. So it doesn't matter if you're an RN, if you're a doctor, if you're a psychologist, it doesn't matter. I get them from every profession known to man. So please, and we also have the first time home buyer program. So once we fix your credit, we will get you in a HUD certified class, get you some grant money to have you go into your home. And that's one way of us helping you. Not to mention your key to your business, the key to your car. We're here to help you with the key to your finance.
Thank you for joining us on Tell Us Your Biz. We'll be right back after these messages.
This has been Tell Us Your Business, where a special guest comes on every week and tells us what they do. All shows can be seen on amp2.tv, and if you wish to be a guest, call 866-224-5422 and tell us about your business. That's 866-224-5422. This has been an amp2.tv production.